Hello, Conrad. How are you doing? Innovation Week. Is that better than Innovation Day? I guess. Right. I guess that's better than what Microsoft occasionally has. Like we have Innovation Day today, as opposed to all other days you do not innovate.
Some insight stuff.
Hey, build up your workstation in the cloud already. Like the last time we met, you were not there, unfortunately. So I'll maybe quickly recap for you. What we did is designated one machine as our workstation, and then set up a very tightly controlled environment in there using a construct that is called gem file. You're probably familiar with that construct. It looks like this. I'll quickly open it up for you. So in this construct we have, there is this file called gem file, which helps us log down what exactly we want to use. And then specific gems, specific version numbers of Chef, anything else that we want to basically limit and contain, like a clean environment that we want to work with. And we added that to the package we get downloaded from our Chef server. They gave us a starter zip package, if you recall.
I remember that part.
And so,
To build a workstation.
right. So most of these elements are actually from that package. And these files, two files I added on, and some notes and some other scripts to the cleanup. Apart from that, the thing that you see here is exactly what you get in form of this chef starter.zip at the very top that you may already have received from this location. And if you go to that location and getting started location, you will probably already have that the starter kit downloaded and placed in a specific folder. So to bring you up to speed on where the class is at this moment, I would suggest you locate your package, Chef starter package, and unzip it to a workstation machine somewhere in the cloud, and then add this element, which is this gem file element, to it. And I will open that gem file for you so you can see what it is. It's pretty trivial. Yeah, 4 lines. So I'll post these 4 lines in Classroom so you can just copy and paste. That makes it easy. And what I would like you to do is expand your starter zip, which will become a folder called chef repo. So this is how the gem file would look like. And your chef-repo you will get this from chef starter.zip package that you unzip. And that's what will generate, when you unzip it, it will generate a folder called chef repo. You mount that somewhere in your workstation, and then you put these lines in a gem file. And then in that gem file, you run a bundle install. So the gem file looks something like this. And if you have this file in that same location, which contains your chef repo, then what it will do is enable you to strictly pick and choose what version of chef you want to use. And the reason I added this gem file construct is because we noticed that chef version 12 alpha is getting downloaded. So we want to not want that. We don't want alpha code. So we want to limit it to the latest finished released product, which happens to be 11.16.4. And so this was a way to contain and remove our alpha code that we saw Philip was running into that problem, that his machine was downloading the alpha version, 12 alpha, and was causing trouble. So the gem file you can copy straight from this location. It is here available for you. And most of other things that you need are available in your chef repo that you probably already have, and which gets expanded from your chef starter zip package that you get from this site. Only for him, just to bring him up to speed, and then we proceed. We have it, the same gem file we'll continue to use. The idea was behind this gem file was that we limit ourselves to these specific versions of gems, as opposed to alpha versions that are coming down to machines like Philip got. And we had to uninstall that alpha in order for it to work correctly. So in addition to that, cheat sheet, where is the cheat sheet? Here. In addition to that gem file, I would also suggest you look at this cheat sheet, which is quite handy. And that cheat sheet helps you in quickly doing certain things like upload cookbooks, upload your new updated roles. And we'll also use this another construct we had called chef file now as the class begins, to add specific chef files, add specific cookbooks we want to grab from the community, and then use them through this infrastructure environment that we have. So once we hear from Conrad that we are ready to go, we'll begin. And with a quick test, the test will be clearing it up, basically saying knife EC2 server list should show me nothing. Sorry, I had a typo. Should show me nothing. And similarly, knife DigitalOcean, just another service provider. A droplet list should also show me nothing, because I have nothing at this moment. You might have, some of you might have a droplet there, which may be your workstation. Some of you might have a droplet or instance running in EC2 Cloud if you are using that as a workstation. But mostly these two commands are quickly enabling us to check how and if our configuration is properly connecting to these two cloud providers. We'll add more providers and we'll play across multiple clouds in a consistent fashion as we go along. But I'm just waiting for Conrad to say, yes, we proceed, so we can proceed to the next step, which is this time I want to add a chef file here. Right now in our cookbooks folder, we have only a starter cookbook, which is this one, which was pretty lame. Got us started. We had a starter role also defined here, which was also equally lame. If you recall, the role itself does nothing but puts in a attribute called my name into that. Are you able to see?
Yeah.
And if you look at the cookbook itself, you will find that the starter cookbook has a recipe default, which is also pretty trivial. All it says is welcome to some place and puts your name there. And so that was trivial from a cookbook starter perspective, but this is not the cookbook we want to use. We want to use a real cookbook that is actually meaningful. So in order to begin doing that, in this folder structure, what I would like to add is a chef file. Conceptually very similar to gem file, locks you down and puts specific things you want. Gem files will lock you down to a specific set of gems to use in this folder. Similarly, chef file will lock you down to use specific versions of cookbooks you want to use in this folder. And so our idea would be to now create a chef file in this, and we will do that by saying librarian chef. Hope there is no spelling mistake. No, in the same folder, just drop librarian chef install or init. Typing mistake. Librarian, is there? Librarian chef init. Well, it will be not found because the gem is probably not loaded. So we'll add this to gem file and load it. Right? The gem is probably not loaded. So we'll make a modification to the gem file in here and say gem, and then add our librarian chef gem. And come here back again and say bundle. It will bring librarian chef. Just like that. Just one line. I can go and specify version number if I want to. Yeah, yes. And so it did get some librarian gem somewhere. So you probably have, now we have to rehash in my machine, you have to rehash RBENV, rehash. You may not have to do this, but in my case, I have to. And this will install and create a chef file, just like that. And this was a method of, again, very carefully regulating what gems we are including in our package, in our folder to work with. Otherwise, this will not get picked up. So this librarian chef gem, we had to add it to the gem file for it to become visible in this folder. And so that's what I did here. And what I can also further do is gem list librarian chef and find out its version. I have a 004 version. And we can just lock it further down to say that I want to use this version and save. So I'll further update gem file, come back again and bundle one more time. Yeah, it should do nothing. Yeah, all it did is just listed back. So it did nothing. And we now have one new file in our listing, which is this chef file. This file is now new. It got created because we initialized like this, librarian chef init. If you run it without init, it'll tell you what you can do with it. And so one of the commands was to initialize, and we did. And now we have an empty chef file, which we can open and edit. The chef file looks like this. It is mostly commentary. So what we can do is add a cookbook called Nginx. The idea is now we want to install Nginx in that machine in the remote cloud, wherever we operate on. So I just added this cookbook. Say, I can go further specific and say that I want to actually use. Yeah, so in that was done in gem file because we are adding a gem, and in this line number 7 specifies which specific version of gem you want to get when you say bundle. And so we came back here and said bundle, clear and bundle, and we got librarian chef gem installed. Now we clear again and say librarian chef init. That's what we're going to do here. So the command is to say init to initialize, and we did that. And when we did that command, which was this init command here, this command created a file which is chef file, and in that file, this file chef file got created. Now we'll go and look at that chef file again, like this. Here is how it looks, and in this line I added this line, one new line, line number 6, in which I want to now use the Nginx cookbook as opposed to that starter cookbook, which I don't intend to really use. It is there, it got us started, but that's lame. I want to use a proper cookbook. So I'll go to the community site, figure out what do I have in the supermarket. And in that supermarket, I find that the Nginx latest version is actually this one. So I'll go grab that one and put it, instead of this line, I'll put that one, a very specific version of cookbook, call it out. And then go back to terminal, clear again, and say librarian chef, and this time say install. What this will do is clear out my cookbook folder completely, like wipe out, and install Nginx. Search for Nginx like this, and then I got this line for librarian that I got from here, and then I added that line to chef file, which is in this location, line number 6. Then I came back to the terminal and said librarian chef install, and it installed that particular cookbook along with all the dependent cookbooks in a cookbooks folder that you can see here. So it got all these cookbooks, and you will notice that starter cookbook has been wiped clean. It is very much like gem file. It is like your forms XML in Java, requirements.txt in Python, that limits, contains exactly this is what I want, nothing else. And so if you specify it in gem file, it will become available. If you don't specify in gem file, it will say, command not found. Even though you might have it, it will not run. Yes, every time you modify a gem file, you need to come back and bundle, update. Just typing bundle also updates, but the command is bundle update. No init. No init. Then you'll get to run librarian chef at that time, first time, because otherwise librarian chef doesn't exist. So when you added it to the gem file, it now becomes part of the project, and then you bundle update, and then you have librarian chef available to you. When you invoke it like this, when you invoke it, it will tell you what to do. And we want to choose the very first step, which is the initialization step. So we did that, created a chef file. Now chef file operates with librarian chef to install cookbooks that we want. And so we have this thing installed a bunch of cookbooks for us. Correct. So we have to modify the starter role also, and we will do that next. Very logical. We are and got the bloop segment. Yes, these are all cookbooks, and I'll demonstrate this one more time. What I'll do is I'll rm minus rf my cookbooks folder completely. Okay, so it's gone. So the cookbooks folder itself is gone. What I will do is run librarian chef install one more time, and what this will do is bring back cookbook folder and then bring back Nginx cookbook. It happens to require a bunch of other cookbooks, so there it comes. All these folders basically have each cookbook for each of these things. And as Michael is pointing out, our starter role is kind of there. It still uses a starter cookbook, but our cookbook is gone. Our role is stale. We can either create a new role or modify that same role or do something with it, or just ignore it. It's not necessary. It's not necessary to have a role. You can just specify a cookbook by name. So now we have these cookbooks. What I want to be able to do is go back to our cheat sheet. And in that cheat sheet, which is on the classroom site, you will find that there is a place to wipe, complete, clean, like remove all cookbooks, bulk delete cookbooks from chef server. That's the command I want to do. Yeah, it's on the classroom site. There's a cheat sheet. And if you click on the cheat sheet, this is the command. Bulk delete all the roles from the server. And you can do that manually by clicking here, policy and cookbooks, and delete the starter cookbook by pressing the delete button or something. But it's easier to just delete from this command, which is like wipe clean, like this. Knife cookbook bulk delete -y, and everything goes like completely clean. So that's what I intend to do now. Is I will clear up my screen and say delete all my cookbooks. It'll go and clean up all the cookbooks I have, and my starter cookbooks has been wiped out from the chef server. It is gone. Very similar to this. Yes, yes, conceptually true. But you're operating on a server, chef server. You're not operating locally. Yeah, remote call, killing all the cookbooks there on the chef server. Local. Yeah. You still have the cookbooks, by the way, locally. Even if you did this, you still have all your cookbooks in place. They're right there. It did not delete locally. It just wipes from remote. So you are on the workstation. It wiped from the chef server in Seattle. Now we will go to DigitalOcean in San Francisco or Amazon Cloud somewhere, Oregon, and create instances. Those are our nodes that use Chef Client to run these cookbooks that they'll grab from Seattle.
They don't get the local one.
They own, yeah. When Chef Client operates with the Chef server, it will always get it from the Chef server, which happens to be in our case in Seattle, with the company ops code. So I was able to delete all the cookbooks. Similar to that, there is a cheat sheet command. You will notice that called knife, roll, delete, and then starter should delete that role itself. And I'll say yes. So it deleted that role from the cookbook, from the chef server. So even the role is gone. Now I can say knife role list, and I should see no roles at all. Knife cookbook list, I should see nothing. And knife node list, I have no nodes under management. Oh, there is one me as a user. And knife client list is my company, which is this one, the validator company or your mic org company, or those company will come up like this. So the knife command is essentially operating on something remote. In these cases, it is operating on the chef server. You can also use the same command, the same knife command, to with a different construct to operate on cloud machines, that nodes you create in the cloud. This is the validator for your company called Sama Home, the blue line. With chef server. Yes. That's called Sama Home for your case. And that's the company that I have in my case here, the blue line. This blue one is my client list, is only my company. My node list is me, individual. My cookbooks and my roles and everything else is almost empty. Let's check it out, see what it's doing. Nodes, that seems to work for me. Yeah, you don't need to go to the site. You can operate through knife. Don't even need to visit the browser, but you can.
I deleted the starter and I was checking there.
Huh. I guess you are on the particular page for that starter cookbook itself that may be causing a page not found, but just go to the home page. Yeah, go to policy and your cookbooks and roles and all that. There's nothing in the cookbooks, so you're good. You're good. Yeah, I think you were opening a stale page that was showing 404 because you deleted the page itself, right?
Okay.
That was causing 404. So yes,
When I delete mine, it didn't complain about anything, but it's still there. So.
knife,
delete
cookbook,
row.
knife, roll, delete, starter.
Yeah. So, and then the cookbook, knife, cook, delete.
Can you do a knife roll list?
Gone. But here, still there.
Refresh. F4. Yeah. Yeah, they are not using WebSockets technology yet, so it should automatically update the browser, but it doesn't. You have to press refresh, which is lame. And if you use newer WebSocket technology, the browsers can talk to the servers and automatically update on their own. That technology is available now, but not every site will use it yet. So you have to press refresh button, unfortunately. You can even run Mongo database on the browser inside a little Mongo. Mini Mongo you can run in the browser, which will update the data from the main Mongo database away from you. And so if some data element changes, it will push the change to your Mongo local mini Mongo, and your browser will refresh. That technology is now available if you're interested. It is called Meteor. Check it out, meteor.com. Open source JavaScript based framework, and uses the technology I just described. So it runs a mini Mongo in the browser, and pretty fascinating, and it's awesome. JavaScript. It's all JavaScript. And JavaScript in the browser, JavaScript in mini Mongo, JavaScript in Mongo on the back end, Node.js on the back end, and it's just awesome. $12 million invested in an mini Mongo in your browser. Yeah, it is NoSQL. Yes. Yeah, it is NoSQL as in, yes, it is generally called NoSQL. Now, the word No can mean different things to different people. No can mean no, that no. Or sometimes some people think it is not only. No, not only. So some people think it is not only SQL. I don't know. I think Hadoop people will say NoSQL is not only SQL, but more than SQL. That's what they would like to say when people use the word NoSQL. Some people say NoSQL means no SQL. Some other people, Hadoop type people, will absolutely say not only SQL because they do SQL also. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right. So I think I got the gem file and
Are you in the CD chef repo? Are you in the chef repo? Yep, bundle.
yeah, I did a bundle on it.
Okay. And so we are now in a position to just inspect gem file itself to see if we have librarian there. And so please add librarian line to it. I'll open it up for you. And this way we'll get us librarian added through the bundle. And now you can quit and yeah, space is okay. And bundle. This will pick up librarian chef for you. And then we want to run librarian chef in it to initialize it. And it creates a chef file for us. Yep. And there is, okay, to maybe do a rehash. RBENB, are you using RBENB or something? Or is there a typo?
Well, what's the question? What shell am I using?
No, are you using RBENB? RB, probably not. Otherwise you would know. So say gem list.
One word.
No, two. Do you see this guy, librarian here somewhere? Up on top, maybe. Yes, it is there. So try that one more time. That should run. Librarian dash init. Yes. Oh. Reach like exact dollar shell. Try that again. Librarian, just librarian chef, and no init. Enter. Now init. I think we shall need it to reboot. Yep, so I have chef file now. And now we can add edit chef file to include maybe uncomment this line and uncomment this line and say nginx.
Uncomment, sorry.
Yeah, uncomment the cookbook line. Click and remove the chef client and put nginx. nginx. The second I is not there. Yep, yep, we're done. And then you exit. And in here, librarian chef space install. This will grab the cookbooks you need and put them in a folder for cookbooks. And now you have it. So the folder cookbooks contain all the cookbooks, these cookbooks. Yep. Now you can begin wiping your starter cookbook from Chef server and upload these cookbooks and your role and all that. The cheat sheet has commands. So to upload our collection of cookbooks that we have here, all these cookbooks. Yes.
So,
Bulk delete.
that's right.
Bulk delete like this one. This bulk delete is just a cleanup. You just have only one. You can do a delete that one by specific name, but this is, you need to be in the right location, which is chef repo. And yeah, it's gone. You probably did not have starter to begin with because you did not do that part. But what we can do is,
I did bulk delete before, so,
I see. Okay.
but now you say it's upload Apache 2 cookbook.
No, not the Apache 2. That's just a collection of cheat sheet commands. We are not following that sequence. No, it's not a sequence, just a collection. Cheat sheet is just a cheat sheet. What we want to do is now grab our cookbooks that we have collected through our librarian chef install sequence, all these blue items, and send them to our chef server. So what we'll do is, no, not yet. We'll do like something like this. Nice. Can you see? Probably not. Is this line very hard to see at the bottom? Good. Okay. So knife, cookbook, upload, and then a -o and a path to cookbooks, and then say dash all. That's the command. You can find it in cheat sheet. Is how do I upload all my cookbooks in one shot, or you can go name by name if you want. If you don't want to upload all the cookbooks in one shot, you can go name by name, and the -o option expects a path to where the cookbooks are stored. The blue is the path where cookbooks are stored. Yeah. Yeah, this is a folder. This is plural. This is not a folder, it's the command. Yeah, dash O, you can say dot slash cookbook. It's just a path location. So knife, cookbook, upload, dash O, and you can say dot slash cookbooks and dash dash all. And this will send all the cookbooks back to chef server. It's going right now. So this is the way you regulate what you want to send to your chef server. If you get directly from the community can change the way they want anytime without warning you. And you may not want that. You may want to regulate. If you're doing a project in going internal, you want to regulate exactly what you get and not have a random community member update something or change your infrastructure and break for you. So you want to lock it down. The way you lock it is through chef file in case of cookbooks, gem file in case of gems. And that's what we just did, is lock down what we want by referring to our chef file here and said, no, gem file is for local workstation usage. Yeah, to get us commands, get us what we need. Yeah, so gem file is, see what it contains. It contains chef locally installed. Knife EC2 is a plugin to chef that connects to the EC2 infrastructure. Knife DigitalOcean is a plugin that connects chef to the DigitalOcean cloud infrastructure. And this is a nicety, UNF. If you don't add it, it'll warn you. So I just added it. I gave up, added it. And this librarian chef is a requirement for us to manage our cookbooks. And through that, using a chef file, which is this one, we manage our cookbooks. And in that, only one line is actually active, which is this line. All other lines are comments below. And that's what we just did, is to upload all our cookbooks that we have collected in this location. We have sent all the cookbooks up there. Now we want to modify, look at our role, see what we have. In the role, what we have is, there is a roles folder and there is a role here. And it has a name called starter and a description and a run list that says recipe starter. And there is an override attribute. We can get rid of that attribute altogether if you like. If you don't want it, we can just comment it out. And in case of recipe, I would like to say Nginx. And I will rename it to web server. I'm doing it in the role file, in the role descriptor. Role, I have a file called starter.rb. That file, I just modified it to look like this. I commented out whatever I had. I mean, I can even delete that. And to be precise, I renamed the whole thing to web.rb instead of starter.rb. I would use the name itself. I'll change. So I'll go into roles folder, and in there I'll find that there is this role called starter. I will modify the name itself, and I'll call it something like a web role, which is much better suited as a nomenclature as opposed to starter, which doesn't mean much now. And so I'll go here and now look at the roles folder, and inside there I'll find this web role, which is a modified version of the starter role. And what I did is give it a name called web, give it a description for all the machines I want to have the web server role. Maybe I'll call it further, web server role. To be even further elaborate in descriptor. And in that run list, I will add one item, which is Nginx recipe. I want to run this recipe inside here, which is here and the default. This is what I want to run. So I call it like this. I modify it like this. So that becomes my web role. So if I now look at my roles, I have only one, which is the web role. And I'll come back to my home, my working folder, which is this location, PWD. And in that folder, what I will do is knife role. I'll send my role to them, to the chef server, knife role from file roles web. There's a cheat for that also. So just sending a role up to them. Yes. I just changed the whole thing, reused the same file, modified it to the way I like, removed unnecessary things, renamed it to web servers running Nginx, and then specified a particular cookbook I want to load up on that box or those set of boxes that will take on this role, right? And so now, question? Mm-hmm. You say librarian chef install. Okay. Yeah, you should be in the right folder, not in this folder. CD is space dot dot. Yeah. Yeah. So in this folder, you can run librarian chef install, and that will bring your cookbooks. It failed. Okay. Something is so it failed. Can I look? Ill-formed requirement. Okay. That means you have a typing mistake. So let's go edit your chef file. Oh, so no VI here. Sorry. Nano chef file. Let us read what you have. Okay, now cookbook Nginx. And let us for now remove these lines altogether completely. Just use this for now to see that we're cutting down any typos we might have. So Control X, say yes, and overwrite and cat chef file. Okay, and then librarian install. Nginx not found. Is there a typing mistake? Nginx? No. Okay. Let's do one more. Is remove chef file completely gone. Then say librarian chef init to initialize the chef file. Then we modify it using nano, and then using existing lines, just delete that comment and come back here. And I want to use the cookbook called Nginx. That's what I want. And so I'll say Control X and say yes and enter. Now I will say librarian chef install. It's working. Yeah, in the previous case, there was a typing mistake in nano somewhere. In the API was probably wrong.
Right.
Is it hailing or what? Yeah. Nice. Welcome to Seattle. That's what it says. So we now yes. Yes. So you can send them in one command. There is a cheat command for that. Is to send all your cookbooks in one shot. And yeah, and give a path and say all of them. So it will upload all of your cookbooks. It's quite noisy. In India home? Yeah, it's very common to have it. This thing is like corrugated sheet roofs are very common in India. Bad for classroom usage. This is actually not just a classroom, it's a conference room. It's a premier conference room So it sets up as an oval table that we have modified to use as a class. And that's why the chairs are different here, right? So it's for the so just to make sure your meetings go smoothly. It's a good design. Yeah, I'll speak louder if I don't. Just remind me. So our idea is that we want to say all our cookbooks are available on the chef server by listing them. Sorry, knife cookbook list should give us a list of all the cookbook that the chef server has, and yes, it does. Knife cookbook, sorry, knife roll list should give us a role that we have, and there it is, the web role. So we have our role, we have our cookbooks collection entirely available to chef server. The next logical step in the sequence is, I see, web role. Okay, I'll walk you through that. So what I will do is open up the web role in an editor. MV. Yeah. MV, one name, the other name. Old name, new name. Actually, source and destination is good for the concept of moving. When you're renaming it, the concept becomes different. So it's MV, although it's called move, it's actually rename to the same thing. You read, it's crazy if you think about MV command. It is, this location is named old name, and this location is named new name, and you're moving the file from old name to new name. Huh? Yes. So I'll cat that role for you, and here's how the role looks like. I edited my starter role. I modified it and renamed it to make it look like this, which will basically get assigned to all the web servers in the farm. In my farm, wherever I have a web server, I want to use Nginx, and on all those servers, I want to deploy as web role. I want to give them this role, and this role says use recipe Nginx, effectively invoking that same cookbook through a role construct. Role is a collection of things that you will commonly deploy to a type of machine type, like a web server becomes a role. So this role gets applied to all the web servers in my farm, right?
So I have modified it now to
Upload it to the server, which will be knife. It's kind of weird command. I'll type it for you. Yeah, it's not consistent, right? The command is very, no, it's the knife roll from file roles.web. That's the name. That's how they have written it. They'll basically rationalize their API and their command constructs over time. And what happens is, especially in open source, some developers will work on one part and other. It's common with big companies also. Yeah, I'll work on this segment, you work on this, and we'll just finish it up. And we think it is this way, and the other people think it is that way. And then we have a role upload method different from the cookbook upload method. And we'll rationalize it in next version of Chef. Whatever. This is what it is. So just deal with this. Yeah, exactly. Just deal with this. That's how it is. It is not rationalized yet. And that's where developer user experience comes into play. If you're really taking it up a notch and making it widely available, developers will question this. Hey, why do I upload a role like this, not the other way? Yes, I have no answer for that. This is what you do.
You have Gem file, you have instructions to download the software, download or set up the software.
I put this error with the name thing. I put the name as like web server in the web.rt and gave me an exception. Option names value web server does not match regular expression.
Yeah, you have to have a no space basically in the name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Gem file have instructions to install the software, I mean to download and install the software.
Yes.
Like knife
Got
is function, knife is
Yeah, any gem.
Any gem.
Any gem from rubygems.org.
Okay. And when you have chef file, the chef file has instructions for cookbook to
Yeah,
install.
any cookbook from marketplace.
Any cookbook for the cookbook. Okay.
You know, just like gem file can get most, all the gems you need from rubygems.org, you can have your own gem repository and use that instead. And then bundle will go to your repository and get gems from there.
Okay. Okay. So we
And
set
not,
up
yeah,
that,
you can totally control that also.
Okay. So it's repository to go to.
Yes. In fact, if you look at gem file, the very first or second line is actually saying where to go.
Oh, in the gem.
Yeah, gem file. Yeah. And same with chef file. It says where to go.
Okay.
And also specifies which API to use. If you look at that carefully, it will say where to go, get the gems from. Source. Source is where the gems come from. And similar construct will be there in chef file. It will say where to go get the cookbooks from. And it will go to the marketplace, wherever that name is. Yeah. So if you look at let me open it up. So I'll cat gem file, not cat gem file, and you will say that its source says go to rubygems.org. Now, if for your company you decide that you want to regulate your gem distribution, fine with me. Just modify this, make it boinggems.org or gems.boing.com, something like that, and then all the bundles inside your company will go grab it from gems.boing.com and not go to the public distribution. Similarly, chef file. You have this site called http supermarket.getchef.com API version 1. That's where it is getting all these cookbooks from. If you decide that you want to have your own cookbooks.boing.com to distribute your cookbooks, and you don't want to go to this marketplace, then you knock off that file, that line, and put your URL of a distribution endpoint from which you will internally distribute your own cookbooks without telling anybody on the planet Earth. Like, keep it inside, hidden.
Bundle is reading from gem file.
Yes, bundle reads from gem file and implements whatever you tell. Library in chef will read from chef file and implement whatever you tell. Same concept. Concept is same. Ideas are the underlying elements are different. So now we have a knife role list will give us a role, and knife cookbook list will give us a list of cookbooks that our chef server has. So what I want to now do is invoke a machine in the EC2 cloud with this setup. And I will use the command from the last time. If you remember, it's on the classroom site. So I'll go there, copy from the classroom, look at some of the notes we have, and here it is. There was a thing we did on October 15th. If you remember that, we'll go open it up in a notepad, see what we did. We did something like this. So it was knife EC2 server create, give it a name, use a key, line number 5, key, line number 6, the key file itself, Ubuntu as the login name, machine ID, AMI ID, then T1 micro chef, T1 micro size, the distribution is chef full, and in our run list we want to make it different this time, call it web. And that's what I wanted to do this time. So I'll take this command sequence, copy the whole thing, and invoke it. And for some of us that did not succeed until we figured out that the port number 22 needs to be open for Amazon Cloud, like Michael did. Thank you. The port number 22 needs to be open in your default routes for your machines in your Amazon EC2 instance that your account you have. And when you open it up first, then you run this command. Don't rush to running it. You should run this command. The command is available on your classroom. And on October 15 date, you will find it. You have to make some changes to it, which is modify the role name, not starter, but instead use the name web to signify that we are using the web role, not starter role, which we don't even have anymore. It's gone. And so I want to take this command, copy, take it to the terminal, check my EC2 configuration by going to console.amazon. Whatever, aws.amazon.com, log in there, go to check my default security groups. And in EC2, I'll go check my region first. Is it Oregon region or not? Yes, I do. Then I'll go check here in my key pair, what the name I have. I'll use that key pair name. Oh, where is key pair? I use this EC2 Oregon key pair name I have. That is the same name I have here in line number 5. And I have the corresponding file located in my workstation in that location, which is line number 6. I would say that you should do this from your workstation.
I'm sorry, what's it?
Yes, which can be wherever you want.
Can I create the EC2 instance from my
From DigitalOcean, yes.
from my phone and from my application studio?
Yeah. Yeah.
But one is I have set up those keys ID underscore RFA, ID underscore, but it required me a password when I tried to log
So
in.
say delete your keys, create them again without a passphrase.
Oh.
If you are before you delete your key, you make sure that you have to provide this key to EC2, provide the same key to DigitalOcean. Make sure you don't rush to deleting keys.
So you mean shall I delete this one?
No, don't rush to delete
Don't
keys.
rush to
No,
delete.
do not rush to delete your keys. But I want to see, what do you mean when you say the thing is asking you for a passphrase or passcode?
Password. Like, so when I tried to log into my instance, maybe okay, no. So it could be because I deleted all my instances and restarted created a new one probably.
So can you connect to this IP address through terminal?
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah. So that's
Aha. So it is connecting. Did you use a password or a key?
a password.
Can you connect through key?
Maybe the keys I installed were for a different instance. Like I created one and deleted everything.
Can you click here?
Oh.
So you have a go work key there. You can use the key. So in your putty, did you use key or did you
No, like you could,
start putty?
yeah.
And so go to that DigitalOcean.
So this is my instance.
So load it. Just load it. Don't open. Load.
Sure. Yeah. So
Load and go to the key element.
104.131.1.0.4.
Go check your key. Is it key file? Yes, it is private key file, PPK. There it is. So now check your R login.
I haven't changed any of that.
Local username is root.
So maybe I should have done.
Type in root here and say up the very top and say save and open.
That.
Aha, don't give it the password. Do not.
Oh, so I just enter.
No. No. It says unable to use the key file my DevOps go work, which means you have to go check that file itself, see if it is the proper type. The type expected is PPK by putty. It's a different type. So go to your location, which is my DevOps, and then go work.ppk. You should use PPK file here. Not that, but PPK.
Oh, I see. I maybe using
So you close this, go to your putty, load it, load, and go to SSH, and then key auth and browse it to the PPK file. Go work PPK and say OK, and then say session save open, and there we go. No, server refused your key. That means your key, although it's in the right format, the server doesn't have the corresponding public copy.
I see.
So you should go and give it to them.
By first logging in, right?
That's right. So what I want to do is go clear, go cd.ssh, and here open up authorized keys file, vi authorized keys, and here it is empty.
0.
Yeah, it's empty. That's the reason you want to put your public key in here.
Which is my go work.
Go work public. So this public key, go work.pub, cat it. Yeah, exit and try again. Yeah, good.
Oh, shall I keep this?
Yeah,
or-
Q. Beautiful. Come out of putty, try putty again.
Oh, okay.
That was the problem.
.ppk was
Yeah, you're using not ppk and sorry, you were not using .ppk and your authorized key was empty,
empty.
which means the key will not work.
So now I can execute.
Yes, now you can use your DigitalOcean droplet as your workstation like you're already doing and operate on the Amazon cloud or any other cloud for that matter. As long as your knife dash that cloud is working, you know, knife dash that cloud, you know what I mean? Knife HP, knife Azure, knife whatever is knife EC2. If that thing is working, then you can operate on that remote cloud.
So when you say like working,
Working as in knife's EC2 server list.
like my gem file, I have like EC2.
Yeah, so in here, in this folder, you should say knife EC2 server list.
Oh,
No, knife space EC2 server list. And it will give you all the servers you have in your, which means it is not working, which means you have to still do some work. And I'll tell you what work. That work happens to be inside your knife.rb file, inside your .chef folder. Inside this .chef folder, there is a file.
oh, inside.
Yeah, inside .chef. There are 3 files. The file number 1 is knife.rb, which needs to contain your credentials for EC2, which it does not.
Okay.
So keep them, keep these 2 lines as is. I'll add 3 more lines. I'll tell you what to add there. I'll tell you what to add there. At the end of that file, you need to add 3 lines. And those lines, you can locate them like this. So look at this Google search. It is knife EC2 knife RB. And that will take you to GitHub. And at the bottom, you will find exactly what you want to add. And the things you want to add are these 2 lines and 1 more line for your region. So I'll grab the region instruction for you in just a sec. But in the meanwhile, yeah, copy these 2 lines like this. And it should be readily available in the somewhere here also. I think last time I gave it in the, yeah, here it is. Yeah, October 15th, we have these 3 lines are for Amazon. And the last 2 lines are for DigitalOcean. These elements you want to add to your knife.rb file. The knife.rb file sits inside a folder called .chef. And that .chef folder contains 3 things. It's your personal key, your organizational validator PEM personal key, private key, and knife.rb. Knife.rb needs to contain these 3 things in addition to what it already gives you. So these 2 things are needed to operate on your DigitalOcean cloud, and these 3 things are needed to operate on your Amazon instance in the Oregon region. So you have to modify this to Oregon. This is XYZ right now. So make it US West number 2.